this. One of them actually is starting to get a little bit of notice now. It's called big code. And the idea behind big code is, depending on whose statistics you look at, somewhere between 60 and 80% of the code on GitHub is AI generated. That doesn't mean to say that all of the libraries out there that we've been using for years and years were written by AI. However, nowadays, it's super easy to go onto GitHub, use Copilot, and have it generate code. So easy that if you were to add up all the lines of codes, there's more of that's out there than actual code. So if you're downloading code off the internet, or you're at a financial institution, you've been asked to write some code for a financial application, you're probably going to use something like Copilot. So at some point, a large enterprise needs to ask itself, who actually wrote the code here? If something goes wrong, how do I actually find out how to fix it? Or I have a new feature I want to produce. Who actually knows enough about the code that they can modify it for a new feature to take to production? That gets really, really cumbersome right now with the advent of AI.
So Mark, one of the things that you were joking around about, the Nigerian prince, but the whole point of that was to have that scam was to have a believable persona. We could laugh about it now, but at the time, it probably seemed really believable when you got a fax from somebody you didn't know saying, look, I just need $1,000 to unlock $1 million of diamonds. Maybe that sounded reasonable before we joked about it for 20 years, right? So it seems to me, I've done a decent amount of dabbling with the generative AI tools. They can be very convincing. So is there any risk that bad actors, or whatever we call them, might try to use some of those techniques to facilitate social engineering or doing other bad stuff?
Well, the thing is, it's getting very nuanced. Several years ago was the first case that went public where a financial executive at a large company received a voicemail from the CEO. That voicemail wasn't actually from the CEO. It was from a Gen AI package that had listened to the CEO, who was quite prolific on various media out there. So it got lots of voice samples, lots of diction samples, and was able to come up with a message in the CEO's voice that basically says, hey, the XYZ project we need, and the amount was actually $250,000. Well, we need that transferred into this bank account. Don't have time to go into it. When I get back to the office, I'll give you all the details. The CFO actually did it. Turns out, boom, money's gone. And this was the first publicly acknowledged one where a generative AI, in this case, voice, was used in the attack. You can imagine the emails that are inundating companies out there are getting very sophisticated. We used to always joke about the Nigerian prince, right? The grammar was horrible, the punctuation wasn't correct. You can imagine coming out of the LLMs, one of their beauties or flaws, depending on your point of view, is they never make mistakes, at least from a grammatic and punctuation point of view. So that's making it exceedingly difficult to detect.
So how interesting. So first of all, just as a data point, anybody who gets a voicemail from me that sounds like me on Technically Speaking, if it's for money for someone else, it wasn't me. And if it's to send it to me, it was me. So just let's make sure we're clear.